Now, I've been asked one question, which I think is an important one. All right, you're in the mess, you've cleaned up. How do you prepare for the audit? First and foremost, you have very detailed evidentiary records. You want every piece of correspondence with the IRS, every letter, every email, every notice. To the extent it's not privileged, and we'll discuss that in a minute, you want to be able to produce correspondence from counsel stating that what you were doing was correct under the law, or at least an opinion they relied on. Now, you're going to run into a problem here that most people don't understand. There is no attorney-client privilege for criminal tax evasion. In 1998, Internal Revenue Code Section 7525 was added. You have a limited privilege for non-criminal tax evasion, period. Second, if you're still cheating and you go to a lawyer and advise them that you're still not paying your tax, multiple problems. First and foremost, Treasury Department Circular 230, Section 1021, is the tax advisor's duty, ethically, to advise you that you're in non-compliance with the law, and if you do not comply, what are the penalties? And if you're doing it willfully, they cannot represent you, or they face a conspiracy problem. Second, there is no privilege at all for your prior criminal acts or for continuing criminal acts under the crime fraud exception, which means your lawyer can be forced to give testimony against you and disclose what you thought were confidential communications. The only response to that is to be very professional and detailed. Organize your evidence, cite your authority. Advise the IRS of the facts up front as to why you do not deserve to be penalized or criminally prosecuted. Handle it professionally, and they will respond in kind, as they always do in my experience. For the audit, always start from this standpoint. They want everything, we're going to give them as little as we have to legally. Starting off with the following. You only have to give them documents that are in your possession. If they send you an information document request and you don't have it, write back, not in my possession, immediately. If it's in a third party's possession, confirm the third party still has it. If they don't, advise the IRS was in a third party's possession, they no longer have the documents. If it was lost in storage, advise them it was lost in storage. These are very critical issues at the outset. If you have a constitutional objection, Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination, you don't have to say anything that implicates you in a crime. A Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable searches and seizures. You don't have to let them ransack your house looking for documents. An Eighth Amendment prohibition against excessive fines, which some of their penalties may be construed as such, particularly the 50% penalty, which has still not been litigated before the Supreme Court. These issues all play at the beginning. At the outset, you want to raise evidentiary objections, privilege objections, constitutional objections, missing record exceptions. The end game is simple. Narrow the scope of the audit to civil issues that can be resolved with money. If you lose the audit, you can appeal internally, administratively, no tax due. If you lose that, you can go to tax court and appeal for years, no tax due. Yes, you'll have fees. Yes, it'll cost you time. But there are many ways in the Internal Revenue Service, thanks to the Taxpayers' Bill of Rights 1, 2, and 3, to resolve outstanding tax problems. Remember something, they collect $3+ trillion a year in taxes. They process nearly 300 million tax returns. They have less than 100,000 employees, and their budget's been slashed by 20% in the last 4 or 5 years. They can't possibly go after every U.S. taxpayer who's cheating on their taxes. And they know that. So what they want to do is make an example of somebody. As they say in the Old West, hang them high. And that's why you're seeing all these cases come out. Aaron Schock, congressman, Illinois, just indicted for 24 counts of tax evasion and wire fraud for stealing public funds to redecorate his office so it looked like the PBS program Downtown Abbey. Dan Horst, a University of Rochester professor, just paid a $100 million fine for hiding $200 million in a Swiss bank and not disclosing it on an RF bar. The Catholic priest, the unlucky gentleman we discussed. And Mr. Novak out of Las Vegas skimmed $4 million from his liquor store. Criminal tax evasion. Now, many cases right now are being reported. That's deliberate. It's to get your attention. The key thing you want to remember is this. between the time you're aware you have a problem and before you're indicted, before you're arrested, before you're even audited. That is your window of time to straighten up and fly right and get your taxes square. Do it. If you need my help, you can contact me at Gary Wolf, GSW, at gswlaw.com. Send me an email on a no-names basis. I'll let you know if I can help you. Thank you very much.